Croatia is a tiny country for people in the US. It is the size of West Virginia. We made it happen that Croatia remained the only country that was actually open to Americans. The government has decided to put me there as a professional with international background. And obviously, I did do something good for the country. Health system in Croatia is really good. So the health tourism now is blooming as well. Having been connected with reporters from all over the world, I think that there is a significant contribution that happened. Content that we are offering to the visitors coming to Croatia is immaculate. What they do mention always is the hospitality of our people. The whole world is outsourcing from other countries, and Croatia is no different.
TV Sunday, the power of truth.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this wonderful show from TV Sunday. Today I'm talking with one of the inspirational lady who has been spending tourism industry since many years. And her experience, her knowledge, her accomplishment, contribution and achievements are something really inspirational to anybody who want to kick off their career in the tourism industry. Ladies and gentlemen, let me welcome Iva Bahunek. She is the former CEO of Tourism Board Croatia for Los Angeles, and likewise, she has been in multiple walks of life during the career of tourism industry. Iva, it's a wonderful pleasure welcoming you. Thank you very much for making time to join us.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. So, as I already announced, that you have been in Los Angeles as the tourism board CEO of Croatia. This is one of the beautiful tiny country in Europe. What is your key experiences working in Los Angeles? Let's start with that point.
Okay. Well, first of all, Croatia is a tiny country for people in the US. It is the size of West Virginia, the state of West Virginia. So it is quite small, but because of its geographic and climate diversity, it offers so many things to everybody who ever wants to come to Croatia. And apparently, for the past several years, there have been people flocking from all around the world to Croatia, especially now for the past several years from North American continent.
How do you think that you contributed to the tourism as your role in capacity that you had?
Well, first of all, I'm really grateful that after so many years in tourism, the government has decided to, put me there as a professional with international background. And obviously, I did do something good for the country in the years before that. I went to school in the States, so I didn't have any problems within diversing or immersing into the American culture. I am there with my family, and so I, knew the continent, and I knew the people that I would be working as well with as well. And so it wasn't as hard as probably it would be for somebody who had no experience living in the States before. I came there in 2019. So it was just before the COVID started.
This was,
So
yeah.
that was
Your
so
time was
immediately, immediately it became quite challenging for me.
quite challenging. It was very hard to tell somebody that just visited Croatia. It was a very terrible situation.
Yes, but it wasn't really terrible actually. I was talking to my colleagues from you know um, other places where we have tourism boards from around the world, and the thing that we had in States, as you remember, Trump closed the States,
Yeah,
right?
of course.
So immediately, and then so what happened was I started with the webinars, and I did webinars. It was like it would be an hour or an hour and a half story about Croatia, about Croatian culture, cultural heritage, architecture, design,
Mm,
IT, what have you.
yeah.
And I immediately started doing that, targeting travel agents,
Okay.
the travel associations of America, And that became something that was amazing because I used to have webinars for, 5 agents, but then for 1,500 agents that were just extremely, extremely happy to find out more about Croatia. And that happened during the COVID. And also during COVID, what I realized is that all of us in the States, what were you doing? You were home, you were either cooking or watching TV, right? So
Right.
I took
Yeah.
the statistics
Mhm.
and I saw that, 97% of people at that time, because
Mhm.
I think it was done by CBS or somebody was doing the statistics.
Chocolate.
And I was like, okay, this is now the time to target certain shows, the executive producers of certain shows, travel shows that were the most watched shows at that time. For example, at that moment, I don't know if you remember, but Below Deck was the most watched travel show at that
Mhm.
time
Yeah.
on American television. So what happened was I got in touch with them. I pitched Croatia together with the former Minister of Tourism and at that time person who was in charge for international affairs at our Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
Mhm.
We made it happen that Croatia remained the only country that was actually open to Americans. So, together with some assistance of my colleagues here in the government and my personal connections in the States, I actually enabled Croatia to have 2 seasons of Below Deck, which enabled then Croatia in the following year to be constantly present on the American television. And then the Netflix's show, Somebody Feed Phil, came along. I pitched them too, and they came to shoot in Croatia. Outside Beyond the Lens came to shoot in Croatia. And
Yeah.
MTV's The Challenge came, the blockbusters came, etc. etc. So this is what I've been doing
Basically, you
during COVID.
no, during the COVID, you use a lot of digital platforms and multimedia to
Yes,
export your country into the United States, and also you
yeah, we did. I
encourage
did.
people
Yes,
through those platforms.
yes.
Yeah, it's absolutely a great thing that you thrown yourself like how the situation goes. So,
Well, you have to do that.
yeah, of course, that's one of the key things to get success. So
Mm.
one of beautiful thing that you were explain why Croatia is one of the most visited country in Europe is because of its diversity, culture, and the people, and lots of lakes, mountains. Would you mind to explain about this? That why people need to visit this country, and what is the speciality that any tourist has to experience in Croatia?
Oh my gosh, everything I would say. First of all, I'm extreme patriot. I love my country so much. So usually, if we talk about the American travelers, they usually stay up to 10 days or 2 weeks now post COVID in Croatia. So, usually, what they do, they fly into Zagreb or they fly into Dubrovnik. Also, what I did, I negotiated that direct flight from Newark to Dubrovnik with United Airlines with their vice president Patrick Quayle, and so you either fly directly to Dubrovnik, and then what people do, they go, if they fly in Dubrovnik, then they go up north. They usually go island hopping. They visit Dubrovnik and Split, and all the UNESCO sites that we have in Croatia that are scattered across our country, and then they do the inland stuff. So they either do the island hopping and then they combine it with, for example, Plitvice lakes, or they go, mountain climbing on Velebit, or, they go, for example, to eastern part of Croatia called Slavonia, which I like to call it something, it's like a mutant between the Provence and Tuscany, undiscovered Provence and Tuscany. But there are so many things. For example, our thermal spas in Croatia, the thermal water in Croatia is the second best in Europe.
Right.
The health system in Croatia is really good. So the health tourism now is blooming as well. because of the price ranges. In comparison to America, we are just
Yeah, of
miles
course.
and miles, away from the pricing in the States and
Oh,
also our.
if I here, I would like to, sorry for interrupt you, like a pricing you mentioned here. What do you think about the budgeting to visit Croatia? It's like for a week trip.
It depends on what you want. I cannot even tell you that. I don't think that any professional, tourism professional would tell you, oh, yes, Kieran, this is how much it would cost, because it depends on the preferences. Some people love to go, horseback riding, down south. Some people
Mm.
just love island hopping. Some people just like to relax in all inclusive five-star hotels and not do anything. So, some
Yeah,
people love to come during the winter to Zagreb and go and see the World Cup above Zagreb. So it all depends
it
on what
depends
you
on the
want.
preferences, yeah, of course, and the
Yeah.
menu. Like one of the thing very highlighted was why Croatia is not much connected with the rest part of the world, like no direct flight to Asia or United States, right?
Oh, I would beg to
Yeah.
differ. We did have direct flights,
Right.
and we still do
Oh,
have with Korea. Yeah, yeah, we do.
what about from New York or any part of the United States?
Yeah, I told you just previously. I negotiated the first direct flight from Newark to Dubrovnik. So you do have a direct flight.
Oh, really? Is it still starting or yet to start?
No, it started 2 years ago.
2 years ago? That's
Yeah.
amazing. That's amazing.
Yes. There is a lot of things that I did during COVID.
That's one of the huge achievements you made, I think. So,
Yeah.
likewise, if talking about your contribution, you've been in many universities, you've been in many events or conferences explaining
Mhm.
why people need to visit Croatia, this. How do you think that those things contributed to boost the tourism in Croatia?
Oh, well, prior to the position of CEO in LA of Croatian National Tourism Board, I was a CEO of Croatian Hotel Association. So, having the majority of hotels in Croatia within my association. And I did a lot in terms of education, educating the staff, the middle management, and top management. I connected our association with the European Hotel Association called HOTREC. I connected our hotel industry and our association, the National Association, with IHRA, so International Hotel and Restaurant Association, the Balkan Hotel and Restaurant Association, and being on that position, I think I contributed quite a lot in connections, in connecting people from all over the world, from our industry, with our experts and our CEOs of hotel groups and hotels. Also, having had so many events, congresses, workshops, roundtables, I mean, you name it. I did that for 10 years. Having been connected with reporters from all over the world, I think that there is a significant contribution that happened, from coming from me.
Like you mentioned that you've been president of Hotel Association, chairman of Hotel Association of Croatia.
Chairman,
Yeah, let me know something about what about the hospitality industry in Croatia, like hotels, restaurants. Can you explain a little bit how is the situation there, or what is the picture of hospitality industry?
yeah. We take care of hotel industry or hospitality industry quite a lot, because probably 18% of our BDP comes from tourism. So, in terms of the quality, Croatia has done, tremendous job for in the past, I would say 15 years. The quality of accommodation, the content that we are offering to the visitors
Mm.
coming to Croatia is immaculate. So, and of course, then you have all the, I would say the logistics around it. So, of course, when you talk about coming to Croatia, I think that first thing that people think about, especially the ones that have been in Croatia, is amazing food, which is organic. Of course, the niceness of the people. I think everywhere you go, in every part of Croatia that people visit, this is what they talk about. Having been to Croatia and coming back to the States, anytime somebody calls me, and thanks me, oh, thank you for telling me where to go or what to do. What they do mention always is the hospitality of
Of
our people.
course.
So this is something that people tend to remember.
Hmm.
But also, like I said, our hotels go under extremely strict categorization system in Croatia. So our five-star hotels are usually much better, or and the 4 and 3 star hotels are much better than the ones when you compare with other Mediterranean countries because of the strictness of the system. Because the categorization is under the Ministry of Tourism. So I think that the overall experience of Croatia is, of course, mostly in the hands of the people who are working within the hospitality industry. So I would say that what post COVID brought us
Right.
is this, and it's here in the States, it's in Europe, it's in Asia, it's everywhere. The thing that we are now, I would say, are being challenged with is the lack of human capital within the hospitality industry,
Of course.
and skilled human capital.
Skilled. Eva, I just said that because of the government regulations, the quality of hotel industry in Croatia is really high. So that's a praiseworthy thing regarding other states in Mediterranean.
Mm.
Um, I want to skip this thing to your personal achievements and personal career. Like, let's talk about yourself as an tourism expert and an entrepreneur, travel advisor, and planner as well. Can you explain about the challenges of tourism business in post-COVID era? Because you already explained how challenging it was during the COVID when you
Mm.
were in a position, and after COVID, it's a different situation now.
Well,
How?
this is what I've been starting to tell you. So I would say that right now, my clients now are the people from the private sector, from the hospitality industry, and from the governmental sector as well. And right now, we have the biggest issue that needs to be dealt with right now is the lack of the human capital, skilled human capital. And this is what I've been doing now for the past several months. I've been trying to, together with my two partners, we've been trying to help not only the private sector, so our clients from the private sectors, but also from the governmental sectors in certain countries. So to try to help to find out the solutions and ways and how to implement it back into the system.
You mean outsourcing from other countries, the quality manpower, or what? What is it?
Well, of course, the whole world is outsourcing from other countries, and Croatia is no different in that.
Not different.
But what we are trying to do is to explore the ways how to use or
Mm.
how to deal with exclusively also, which is always very important to have the locals. So this is now what we are doing, trying to educate as many people as possible
Mm-hmm.
for the hotels that
Right.
are clients, and to prepare them for the rest of the year, and of course for the next year.
Next year. Eva, one thing that we already discussed about it on the offline regarding the Croatian entry to the European Union, especially Schengen area. Do you think
Mhm.
this impact the tourism in Croatia, or as you said that at 18% GDP depends on tourism? So, what do you think the picture of after entering to the Schengen zone in tourism industry?
Well, in Croatia, I mean, people were coming regardless of the Schengen zone or not. Now it's easier, for certain people to come. For some, it's not. But what's I think the most important thing is that Croatia as a country remains as a very safe country, which we are. High quality country in terms of what we are offering to our guests and, of course, to our locals, to our residents. What I like about, for example, Croatian National Tourism Board, and what I do like about the Ministry of Tourism and the government, regardless of that I'm not working for them anymore. But what I did like, and I still do like, is the content that has been and is being created constantly, not
Mm.
only for our guests, but for the people who live there. So if you look into our cities or the islands or the villages across Croatia, there's always something going on, and it's for
Yeah,
free for everyone.
yeah.
So whether it's the festivals, or the concerts, or classical concert, jazz concerts, um, world famous bands coming over, or the dancing troops,
Mm.
or what have you, there's constantly something going on, and that
Good,
is
of course.
exclusively because of the work of Croatian National Tourism Board,
Mm.
um, and the government. So
Government, of course. And
mm,
I'm very pleased that you have achieved a lot in your short span of career, and
so
you
am
are,
I.
yeah, you are in business, you are in policy making, you are in execution, you are everywhere in tourism industry in Croatia. So
Well,
it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure
everything
listening
interests
to
me.
you. Yeah, of course. Do you consider yourself as a successful person?
I do. I have raised or co-parented and co-raised
Mm.
two great individuals.
Yeah.
I'm healthy, and I think that after turning 40, and I'm 43, you kind of become very self-aware of what you can do and cannot do, and what you have achieved, and what is there that you can achieve, in the
Right.
future. So yes, I'm healthy, and I'm quite content with where I am today.
Of course. So, what is life in your opinion?
What is life?
Yeah.
Just do what you like, and be very, very strict in where you want to go.
Hmm.
And, I think with me, it had to do with some luck as well. I had three mentors throughout my career,
Okay.
and I was lucky enough to have them,
Yes, you are. Yeah.
and who made it quite easy for me,
Oh,
to run my path and to go down the path that I really wanted to go.
mhm.
So I think that, students usually ask me, how did you do something, and how come that, you were, I don't know, 30 when you became something, right? Or you were 27 or 25 when you were already a partner in this company. And
Yeah.
you gotta love what you do and be really, really, and it's a cliche, of course, but
Yeah.
it works. You gotta be passionate.
So, Eva, what would be your advice to be a successful human at the end of our show? Please tell me something. If anyone wants to be successful in their prospective
You
field,
have to find a niche that you love. You have to have constant interest and explore, other interests as well that are maybe complementary to that main interest of yours, and just work, work, work. And there is no way that you're not going to be successful. And of course, if you have somebody to share that success with, and if you are lucky enough to have a nice family that supports you, then that's life.
that's a beautiful thing. Yes. And what's your future project? Would you mind to tell us something?
Sure. I have founded a company
Mm.
together with my two partners. The majority of work is now in Croatia, but one part is still in the States, of course. We're dealing with high-end luxury tourism and also the consultancy, like I told you. We're doing the consultancy for the government and for the private sector, within M&A projects, within, educational projects, strategic projects, writing strategy for the government, marketing and tourism strategies for the government. And so and also I'm still working with productions. So I'm I'm bringing them still to Croatia as well to film because it's part of the things that I love to do as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's an honor talking to you. It's a wonderful conversation. I believe that this will be helpful to others as well who watch ours. So thank you very much for your time and opinion, Eva. It's a great pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me again.
TV Sunday, the power of truth.